What's happening, y'all? Welcome back to Wake Up Barstool. Look at this dude. Big Boy Friday just got a little bigger. You know, he's in incredible shape. It's a weird way to set this up. So Super Bowl winning head coach Doug Pederson joining the show to talk all things football, life, everything. Coach, what's going on, man? Thank you.
Man, it's great. Everything's going well. Thank you guys for having me here. It's been fun these last couple of days.
Hell yeah, man. A couple of Louisiana people here with me and Meg, of course. Coach, he went to ULM before it was ULM. Legendary. And then ended up starting his coach career up there in Calvary Baptist. How about it, Coach? You still got, tell all the people, you still got love for the 318?
I do. My cell phone is still 318. My whole family's 318. And we still have a lot of love. We got a lot of family, a lot of friends still there, and go back as often as we can.
Hell yeah, man. So in my hand, I have some smelling salts. We were ripping these off the start of the show. You had the kicker, Myers from Seattle, rip it right before he hit a game-winning kick. You saw Aaron Rodgers rip right before the 80-yard touchdown. Do you have any smelling salt-infused memories?
I had a player when I was offensive coordinator at Kansas City, and fullback.
Of course. Of course.
He's that type guy.
Suspect number one.
He would literally take, I don't know how many of those things. He'd take 15, 20 of them, crack them, put them in a empty Gatorade bottle, tape it up, and put like a skull and crossbones on it, with a Sharpie. And then walk up and down the sideline, and he would come from behind me and shove it in my face.
Oh wait, he would get people.
Oh yeah, he would get people, but he would do it in the locker room, get guys.
That's so
but he
awesome.
would hit me on the sideline, Jack.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, just straight to my brain. That's awesome.
Does that? So you were OC at the time. Is that under Andy Reid? Does that help play calling?
Oh, it just clears your head. I could run down on a kickoff, that's for sure, to start the game.
Hell yes, dude. Okay, so look, we got a lot to get to, but last night, the Niners, against all odds, and Coach, this is something that you can, I think, really probably speak on here, which is, as the layman, we sit here and we look at things on paper and we say, in what world could the San Francisco 49ers win this game? Right? They have an injury list that is longer than Santa's. They're on the road. The Rams are one of the best teams in the NFL, and yet they come out, they're dominating. Mac Jones kicks ass. They get a 14-0 lead, and they find a way to win. How do these NFL teams, when it appears like they have no chance, how do y'all find a way? I mean, hell, you did a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
I think there's a lot of belief on a roster that it doesn't matter who's playing. It's the next man up mentality, and that's the way the NFL is, and it's the way it is right now. But, I had Mac Jones in Jacksonville. And
oh, really?
We had him in 2024. He played for us, and when Trevor Lawrence was hurt. And so a lot of history with Mac Jones. I like the kid. He's smart. He's intelligent. He's athletic enough to escape a pocket. And you saw what he did in that first half of that game last night. He was on point. He was very accurate. Of course, Mr. McCaffrey in the backfield doesn't hurt either to have him back there. But I think that's what you're seeing, especially in that game last night, just how well they played against a good defense. The Rams have a really good defense. They got a really good pass rush. And, he made some really good, smart decisions. I also credit, Kyle Shanahan, too, for play calling and allowing him to get the ball out of his hand.
Well, and that's where I kind of wanted to go next, because last night, and maybe it's less so with a guy like Stafford, who, Hall of Famer, brings decade plus to bear experience-wise, but it did feel at points last night like you were really seeing that chess match between McVay and Shanahan, and two guys that have kind of come up at the same time and been the young phenoms and now are known quantities. How much of that success that the Niners were having do you attribute to game plan, coaching, and play calling?
Yeah, I think you have to give credit where credit's due, and I think it starts with the coaches, and I think it starts with Shanahan as a play caller, and really understanding his personnel and who he has available and what they're trying to get done, again, against a good football team on the road, in LA. So there's a lot that goes into that, but then the players have to buy into that plan, obviously, during the week, go execute it on game day, and you saw that. You saw that with the Niners yesterday, and they came away with the win. It got close at the end, but it was a great road win for them, and it just kind of, I think to me that sometimes you mentioned Shanahan versus McVay. Well, those are two offensive guys, and they're two sharp guys, and they put together great plans, and I know Stafford is 17 years or so in the National Football League, and I think he's really playing extremely well.
It's crazy. Thought he was hurt. They told us his back was broken the whole offseason.
All right.
Now he's just kicking ass.
Maybe that was just a ploy just to simmer down on the Rams. But, yeah, Shanahan did a great job yesterday.
You see a lot of these quarterbacks that kind of just need to find the right fit, whether it's Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield. It's not just in football. It's in a lot of sports. You just need to find the right fit. Have you noticed that a lot just in your time in the NFL, that there's some of these guys that maybe they're buried or they're in the wrong situation, and then when they do get in the right situation, they ball out? Have you had any specific examples you can think of in your time?
Well, to answer that question, I agree with that. I think sometimes, players need a fresh start. I think, and especially at the quarterback position, I think sometimes you get drafted. And I was talking about this yesterday a little bit. Teams that need quarterbacks and they're drafting high probably don't have a very good football team to start with.
Yeah.
So they're drafting that quarterback to go to a team that doesn't have a very good roster right now.
Yeah.
And so they get thrown out there, and a year or two or three goes by, and they haven't filled in the pieces yet to make them successful, and then the quarterback doesn't have success. So now we kind of kick him to the curb, and another team picks him up.
Right.
Daniel Jones is a great.
I mean, yeah. Look, I got it right now.
Jones, you're sporting the.
Shopped at BarstoolSports.com.
Yep. Store.barstoolsports.com.
Store.barstoolsports.com. Get your Indiana Jones gear. Yeah, I mean, look again.
Great example.
He had become a joke amongst like fan circles. Then he gets with Steichen, and maybe the Colts kind of, sometimes better be lucky than good. Anthony Richardson ends up getting hurt, and you're kind of forced to Daniel Jones, and now he's having a bit of a renaissance. And
Jonathan Taylor doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
so he went to a team that was established, right? He had a great run attack.
Quentin Nelson.
Stuff like that. I mean, those things help young quarterbacks. And then change of scenery, change of uniform, change the colors.
Yeah. Right.
Get with a different play caller, whatever it might be. And it's nothing against coaching. It's just sometimes you get a different, to your point, you get into a different system, system that's more suited to your style of play. And you're seeing this with guys like Sam Darnold. In Minnesota a year ago, and what he did. And
he's been good in Seattle.
He's been in Seattle. I mean, Geno Smith has bounced around. You look at Baker Mayfield, and now Indiana Jones.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking that last night with Mac Jones. I'm a massive Patriots fan, and I always kind of thought he got a raw deal just because the situation he was in, he had at the time it was Joe Judge and Matt Patricia, awesome coaches, but it was just like a weird time where we didn't know who the offensive coordinator was.
Yeah.
He was just kind of thrown into this strange time after Tom Brady. And you see him now when he played for the Jaguars. He filled in for Lawrence. He played well. Last night, he played well. He's been playing well for the last couple weeks. It's just like a lot of these guys just need a chance in the right fit, in the right situation. And you'll see they'll contribute and play well. It's just interesting to think about, like, who else could be missing out.
Yeah, how many have been lost to time?
Right.
Because it just never quite broke their way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Colts are an interesting team because they're almost the opposite of the high drafting team that you were describing, where they were pretty solid everywhere else, but the quarterback position was kind of the net negative weighing them down. So now you get a pretty good guy in there, and they're starting to take off a bit. Let's talk about another guy that you used to coach, and they've had a surprise start to the season as well. That's the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, y'all had the very high water mark together, and then it seemed like you maybe took a step back. Where are you at currently with what you've seen out of Trevor Lawrence?
I've seen some really good things. In Trevor's defense too, he's now on his third head coach.
In
his young career. So kind of the same scenario that we're talking about, but he's still on the same with the Jaguars and the same team. But new offensive coordinator, new head coach, new schemes. He's learning, and what you're seeing is the growth and development of a young quarterback, and this is what I love about Trevor. Trevor's got great athleticism.
Yeah.
Great athletic. He got a really good, strong arm. A pretty accurate passer. I think there's an area where he could improve a little bit is with accuracy, but what you're seeing is him getting the ball out of his hand. He's making quick decisions, and he was with us for 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that we shaped him or anything, but we were able to coach him in a way that let's get the ball out of our hand. Let's push it down the field a little bit, have some success, and you're seeing that right now with Trevor, and he's done a nice job.
Well, and you, Coach, have been one of the coaches that during your career were granted the rank of like quarterback whisperer and really knowing how to unlock that position and develop it. So I guess I have a bit of a two-part question here. I'll start with this first one. When you look at the traits over time, almost regardless of era, that you think create a successful quarterback, what do you think those would be?
I think you got to have a guy that's you got to make great decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You got to make great decisions. Is it going to be perfect every time? No. Make good decisions. You do have to have some accuracy with your throws. I do believe you got to have the accuracy, right? And then just overall, kind of a killer instinct at that position, which is kind of,
Like the intangible?
see it, the intangible part, right? It's built into you. It's an innate sort of instinct that you have, and the great quarterbacks have that. And I played with Dan Marino. I played with Brett Favre. Obviously, Jim McMahon was a teammate of mine, and then I've been able to coach guys like Donovan McNabb, Trevor Lawrence. I was with Alex Smith in Kansas City, and all those guys had that unique trait to lead their football team. And I think that's something that stands out with all of those guys, and the ability. It doesn't have to be a rah-rah guy. You don't have to stand up and be a big speech or motivator guy, but if you're the first one in the building, if they see you study, if they see you work, if they see you play hurt, banged up, because we're seeing it now with quarterbacks, right?
Mac Jones was beat up last night.
He got beat up last night. And he's sore. He's got a couple days to rest now. But I think those sort of traits in a quarterback, being able to make good decisions, be accurate, be on time with the football, and then really good coaching around you, you can have a great career.
Maybe moving outside of quarterback a little bit, Coach, as there always are. There are a lot of A.J. Brown headlines. I mean, you have a premier wide receiver. And look, when the Eagles have needed to throw the ball this year, look at the Rams game. They did, and A.J. was huge. But he wants the damn ball a little more than he's getting it now. You're a head coach. You're trying to manage these alpha personalities against one another. How do you handle your receiver being a bit disgruntled while the team is having success?
Well, you got to keep the thing right in front of the football team, and the thing is, we're 4-0.
Yeah,
we're undefeated. It's not about one guy. And now I can appreciate and understand where AJ's coming from, but I think if you go back and look, and I saw something, read something somewhere. If you go back and look at the targets that are going his way, he's being targeted.
Right.
Jalen Hurts is throwing him the football, but it's just not being completed at this time. So obviously they got some things to work out in their passing game, and they will, and they always have. And I can appreciate where listen, if you're one of the top players on offense, you definitely want the football. I'm sure Saquon wants the football.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
the attitudes that make them great.
That's what makes them good.
Yeah.
That's what makes them great players on your team. And but don't ever lose sight of team and the fact that they're 4-0. They're world champions. They're coming off of that. And, how can I be an asset to the football team and help us win and go 5-0?
It's not going to get any easier this week against arguably the best cornerback in the world in Pat Surtain. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, you're an offensive lineman, so you're not a stats guy.
No.
I'm a stats guy. Sure, winning is awesome, but who doesn't want some stats here and there?
Yeah.
Like, you can be 4-0. If I'm a receiver, I'm trying to get more than 2 catches.
Well, the only stats that offensive linemen would get were sacks, pressures.
Yeah. Bad ones.
Yeah, bad ones. So I
stats.
never looked at that stuff.
Knockdowns were never public, but it was always fun tracking knockdowns in the meeting room for sure. Speaking of the Eagles there, Jalen Hurts to me, Coach, is one of the more interesting quarterbacks in the league right now because he doesn't seemingly care about statistics. Like, he to me feels like the ultimate. If we're grading intangibles, I think I rank him 1-1 in terms of just doing whatever actions need to be done to win the football game, and in like leadership, his demeanor. I mean, did you see him after the game-winning kick or the kick block?
Yeah.
No reaction, stone face. Just business is done. Let's go to the locker room. How do you evaluate a guy like Hurts who isn't statistically overwhelming?
He obviously I was there. We drafted him.
Yeah.
Right. And during our process and during our evaluation process, the thing when you talk to former coaches and teammates and coordinators and all these people that have surrounded Jalen Hurts over his career, the one thing I think that stands out is what you see is bottom line. He doesn't care about statistics. He doesn't care about anything. Let's just win the game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bottom line, we're going to win the game. Mm-hmm. And I think it comes to a little bit, his Nick Saban benched him.
Yep.
Right.
Bench him.
Absolutely.
And then which, to his credit, he stayed with it. He stuck at Alabama, and then eventually, moved on to Oklahoma. But
Well, and he saved them in the SEC championship the next year. When
year.
he had to come in and get it done against Georgia.
And to me, that's character. That's leadership. That's a guy that is a team player, and that's what you see. And listen, like you said, blocked field goal, back for a touchdown. He's like, that's great. Let's go to the next game. What can we do to get better as a football team? And that's what you appreciate about Jalen Hurts and how he leads that team. And just happy where he is in his career. And there's still a ways to go, and he can continue to improve each and every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, he and you know what's crazy? His Oklahoma year is one of the most statistically impressive years in college football history. It just kind of got buried by Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
It just got buried by
Which
Joe Burrow
sucks,
going
but I
crazy.
mean-
It was insane.